This is a Fox News Alert. I'm Brett Baer in Washington. President Obama has vetoed a bill from Congress to authorize construction of the Keystone XL pipeline. The move comes despite the State Department's conclusion that it would have no adverse effect on the environment. Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen is here tonight with the latest. Good evening, James.
Brett, good evening. This was only the third veto that President Obama has issued across his 6 years in office. But it was the first since Republicans regained control of the Senate. And it could portend how his final 2 years in office will unfold. In a brief written message to the Senate, President Obama said he was vetoing the Keystone legislation on procedural grounds because the president wrote this act of Congress conflicts with established executive branch procedures and cuts short thorough consideration of issues that could bear on our national interest, including our security, safety, and environment. It has earned my veto. The White House had earlier alerted reporters to expect the action.
The president does intend to veto this piece of legislation, and we intend to do it without any drama or fanfare or delay.
The Obama administration has spent some 6 years delaying a decision and casting aspersions on Keystone XL, a 1,200-mile proposed pipeline designed to parallel an existing one and transport crude oil from Canada to Nebraska. Supporters, including labor unions usually aligned with the president, say it will create tens of thousands of jobs. Environmental groups cheered the veto, calling Keystone XL an assault on clean air and clean water. 3 years ago, the administration did greenlight the southern leg of the pipeline, 200 miles long and now operative, stretching from Nebraska to Cushing, Oklahoma.
The northern portion of it, we're going to have to review properly to make sure that the health and safety of the American people are protected.
House Speaker John Boehner, Republican of Ohio, responded to the veto with a statement saying the president is just too close to environmental extremists to stand up for America's workers, too invested in left-fringe politics to put the national interest first. And Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican of Kentucky, hinted at future congressional action. Even though the president has yielded to powerful special interests, McConnell said, this veto doesn't end the debate. The new Congress won't stop pursuing good ideas, including this one.
The Republican Party will continue in the House and the Senate to put bipartisan bills on the president's desk that focus on energy, focus on jobs, and will help America move forward.
Fox News polls conducted over the last 2 years, right up through last month, have shown majorities of registered voters from 65% to as high as 70% approving construction of Keystone XL, with the overwhelming majorities of Republicans, Brett, joined by slim majorities even of Democrats and independents.
More on this with the panel. James, thank you. The Senate's top Republican is moving on to Plan B for his twin goals of getting funding for Homeland Security and overturning President Obama's executive action on immigration. Chief Congressional Correspondent Mike Emanuel on Mitch McConnell's next best thing.
Trying to avoid a partial Homeland Security shutdown at the end of the week, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has offered a new plan splitting congressional pushback on President Obama's latest immigration executive action from funding the agency.
I've indicated to the Democratic leader that I'd be happy to have his cooperation to advance the consideration of a clean DHS bill, which would carry us through till September 30th.
Maine Independent Angus King and 8 Democrats have said they have concerns with the president's unilateral action, but all supported the Democratic filibuster of the original House-passed bill with both Homeland Security funding and immigration together. Earlier, McConnell said by splitting the bill, those Democrats should have no issues.
This targeted measure would address the president's most recent overreach from November. The bill isn't tied to DHS funding. There's no excuse for our friends on the other side to oppose it.
This morning, West Virginia's Democratic Senator Joe Manchin said he would back the new plan.
I will support the actions as basically on a bill that would prevent the president from his executive actions. I would support and vote with him on that, but we need to have a clean vote on the Homeland Security bill.
And then Democratic leader Harry Reid started facing questions if his party should bear some blame if there's a partial Homeland Security shutdown.
And we're saying that we're willing to debate anything they want on immigration as long as we have a bill that the President of the United States signs funding Homeland Security.
House Democratic Whip Steny Hoyer applauded McConnell's move to break the deadlock, but a leading Senate conservative voice on immigration is not happy.
Some of our colleagues think that, if we resist this, the president is going to accuse us of not funding Homeland Security and not protecting the Republic.
It sounds like many Republicans are hopeful the courts will provide their victory against President Obama on immigration. You can expect that to be part of the pitch as leaders try to cobble together votes to get this done. Brett?
Mike Emanuel live on the Hill. Mike, thanks. Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen says interest rates will remain low for now. She says while the economy is making steady progress, the Fed will remain patient about raising rates because the job market is still healing and inflation is too low. Well, that was good news for Wall Street. The Dow hit an intraday high before closing up 92. The S&P 500 also hit a midday high and gained 6. The Nasdaq hit a 15-year high on its 10th consecutive winning day. The self-proclaimed most transparent administration in history is being urged tonight to reveal exactly what it intends to do with something that has become virtually indispensable to most Americans. Correspondent Peter Ducey tells us we are 2 days away from what could be major changes in how your internet is regulated, and yet virtually no one has seen or been briefed about the plan.
The FCC, or Federal Communications Commission, is not communicating, proposing changes to the way the internet is governed without telling the public what those changes would be, keeping 332 pages of regulations that will change the internet forever a secret until after a vote on Thursday.
Instead of it being the wild, wild west that I think people love on the internet, they're going to change it so that it becomes highly regulated. And we saw that play out in Europe. It slows it down. It hampers innovation. And when you put Washington, D.C. bureaucrats in charge, there is nothing good that's going to happen.
The FCC is an independent agency, but Oversight Committee Chairman Jason Chaffetz thinks these changes have the Obama administration's fingerprints all over them. So he's warning the Democratic FCC chairman, who is refusing to testify tomorrow, quote, "The committee is investigating the potential involvement of the White House in the development of the draft open internet order." We asked the FCC why such widespread change is being made behind closed doors, and they responded that, quote, "In accordance with long-standing FCC process followed in both Democratic and Republican administrations, Chairman Wheeler circulated his proposal to his fellow commissioners for review 3 weeks before the scheduled vote. One of those Republican commissioners is Ajit Pai."
Even if it's our standard practice not to disclose these proposals before we vote on them, the internet is different. Even according to net neutrality advocates, the internet is one of the most fundamental aspects of American life. And so if ever we were to be as open and transparent as this online world we live in, now is the time.
Who would actually want to slow down the internet? Supporters of these new regulations say it's all about maintaining fairness.
Well, I would say that the consumers win. I would say that democracy wins. And I would say that innovation wins.
So these regulations must first pass before anyone knows what they are. Sound familiar?
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Some critics already calling a slowed-down web Obama net, and their fear is that these changes could do to the internet what Obamacare did to the health care system. And there are new reports tonight, Brett, that at least one Democrat member of the FCC is having some second thoughts about these proposed changes. Still, even if whether she changes her mind or not, Republicans in the Senate are saying that once this gets to them, they're going to need Democratic help to resist these big changes.
Yeah, so far it doesn't look like they have it. Peter, thank you. So what do you think will happen with new internet rules and this regulation? Let me know at facebook.com/BrettBairSR or on Twitter @BrettBair. You can use the hashtag Special Report. Up next, is President Obama about to cave on Iran's nuclear program? First, here's what some of our Fox affiliates around the country are covering tonight. Fox 40 in Sacramento with word that California voters will decide whether to repeal the state's ban on plastic bags. The governor signed it into law last fall, but supporters of a referendum easily gathered enough signatures to put it on the ballot. Until then, the bags can stay. Fox 35 in Orlando, where a restaurant remains closed after a boat crashed through its walls. 7 people were on that boat. 2 of them were hurt when it rammed into the Sunset Grill at Little Harbor in Ruskin. The operator of the boat blamed fog. And this is a live look at Denver from Fox 31, our affiliate out there. The big story there tonight, what's being called a groundbreaking news about peanut allergies. Researchers say exposing infants to peanuts before age 1 actually helps prevent an allergy. But doctors caution you should not do this on your own without a physician's approval. Good advice. That's tonight's live look outside the Beltway from Special Report. We'll be right back.